Let's see what type of spawns these players get. It's Puppypaw spawning in the northeast as the Mongols, losing game number 1. And who else do we have?
In the south, we have SortOf, the man who managed to take a beautiful game out of Puppypaw. So I'm expecting this match to be quite good. And we were talking about the spawns a little bit. This spawn is interesting because there, if you put one tower between the two wood lines, you basically deny all the wood from the HRE. But on the other hand, you have like stone and gold all the way on the other side. So you're not too worried about being denied gold and stones. So we'll see what Puppypaw decides to do. And yeah, he's going for the traditional Dark Age rush with the Spearman and the tower most likely. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, sort of. Hasn't gone to the gold, has the mining camp outline, but going with a Dark Age barracks. He says, I'm not going to let you tower rush me. I am investing into a little bit of Dark Age. He's going to circle around with his scout, I am sure, get an eye of Puppypaw's base, see how many spears they're coming out. The big thing for the HRE is over time you actually win this. The pros are so good as we saw last game with the spears, microing the spears back when they're low health. But guess what? You got this nice old prelate that can heal on up, that can be a huge difference in these early game fights. And I mean, that's really what will allow HRE to kind of hold this tower rush, make it easier. Not to mention, very nice gold location for him, as it will take a while for the spears to either go all the way around the town center on this side or on the opposite side.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting in how SortOf decides to play this because, okay, he's got the barracks, he's gonna match the number of spears, but the problem is he's paying full price for those spears. Like, those two spears are 120 food, which is a lot, while Puppy only spent 60 food because he paid the other half with stone. And that can delay your funeral quite a lot, especially because you had to make the barracks beforehand, and you're on wood way earlier than you want to. So we'll see how this plays. It's still very interesting.
Yeah, some people just opt instead of the barracks. They're like, why not just drop an outpost yourself? It's 50 less wood. Spearman can still kind of be a defensive effect over time. Prelate moving out to those gold villagers, sort of. Next couple drop-offs will have enough for the age up. First two spearmen and villager are circling around. Puppypaw, 2 extra spearmen on their way, but sort of, you already see he has enough to defend this already. He is prepped and ready to go with the spearmen numbers, and Puppypaw is just getting delayed further and further, not to mention one of those spears gets fully killed.
Oh, that's terrible. That's not something you want, because now you have 1 spearman versus 4. Oh, he's just gonna.
And this is all. I mean, in my eyes, I guess one of the things Puppypaw might think in his mind is, all right, he made a barracks, whatever. But the outpost in. Okay, I think that's exactly Puppypaw's reaction. He says, all right, I forced the bait and switch. He's like, I forced enough of a reaction. You made a barracks, you made spearmen. I'm just going to let this go and back on away. I know this tower rush is not going to be successful, so let me just transition into something else, which is going to be a quicker feudal age.
Yeah, learn when to cut your losses. That's what Puppy just did. He produced 2 extra spearmen, but those were on the way before he noticed the spearman or sort of. But he knew, okay, I can't do any more damage, so might as well go back, get my feudal, and play it out from there.
Exactly. Chapel not covering the gold, so sort of choosing a spot that is more berries, stone, and wood line instead of, being able to get his back gold, his food under his town center as well as a backwood line. So this kind of hints to me that he just thinks might be a game that's going to the longer term, and he wants to go 2 TCs, which is exactly going over to that 2 TC play.
Yeah, 2 TC is it's good if Poppy decides to stay in feudal for longer. But at the same time, this is a forward chapel. That's very scary.
Yeah.
You never want to have a forward chapel.
I almost was about to say he could have gone even greedier and put it on the stone and saved the 50 wood for the mining camp and had the 2 tiles worth for farms in between for the drop off on his TC and chapel. But that's super, super greedy. It would have given him some extra tempo early on though, as you know, it's 50 less wood for your initial town center that sort of is 100% planning on making. He's going to have the spears to be able to get the town center in a favorable location, potentially on these deer over here, unless Puppy, no, and he does not, unless Puppy's able, oh, he's not feudal age yet, unless Puppy's able to like transition and get some mobility out there, but it's not, there's no way anything can come across the map in time with these inspired villagers gathering wood and stone.
Yeah, so Puppypaw is trying to find this, and I'm expecting from Puppypaw to make a lot of traders because he knows he's in no pressure anytime soon. He knows there are a couple of spearmen out on the map, but he can counter those with his own spearmen. And he just saw the archer range, so he knows if he throws down the table or his archer range on his own, he's going to be completely fine, which is exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and
but
that's
I am expecting a lot of trade now from Puppy.
I would agree, and that is the typical reaction to when you're building the silver tree is to go range after. It's just kind of more of the meta. You can see where Puppypaw wanted, or where SortOf wanted that town center, but Puppypaw was able to deny it, at least for the time being. Archer moves up, the Khan is there, but the villagers are there as well, and will get this preferable town center location, but a nice scout pick for Puppypaw, as SortOf takes a little bit of a misstep there.
Yeah, he can deny this town center again. He needs to throw the speed arrow to get on top of the archer. Which is exactly what he does.
The shivs though get pulled out. Villagers are just going to turn right back around, force the spears on away, as those shivs, they still do, you know, 6 damage compared to the 8 of these spearmen now that they're upgraded to harden.
Yeah, villagers versus spearmen is not too bad. It's when upgrades start to get involved, then it starts getting pretty bad. But he's managed to delay this TC for quite a long time. Like this TC should have been a minute ago.
Yep. First 2 really traders pop out for Puppypaw. So let's see. Oh, it is. He is producing a few more traders, so this will mean he's not moving the silver tree as of yet. He did double produce those initial traders, so let's see if he's just going to start utilizing his stone for double producing traders rather than double producing military units. This would allow SortOf to kind of get the military mass though. We saw the struggle with the Ottomans last game. When you lose that military mass, your trade gets denied, and then that was all the resources that you just invested into. SortOf drops a blacksmith, might be getting some upgrades in, and is looking to make sure that Puppypaw feels some aggression, who is going ultra greedy, dropping a second TC himself with this trade.
Wow, that is super greedy by Puppypaw. But rightfully so. He knows DHRE can't really put that much on direction on him. He knows DHRE has a quite small army, and what he does, he's just circling around and he's going to try to hit the gold or the weak line, and I assume he's going for the gold. Just
SortOf though, walling up at the perfect timing, like you think you were just about to say. Finishes the wall as the spears, as the archers were circling around the backside, and just able to defend that on up, except archers, spears starting to move through towards the production. He attacked the blacksmith with the Khan, could have given that attack notification. Looks like a first villager pick of the game, and it's not just the first, it's the second, and it looks like it's gonna be a potential third, not a third.
Khan goes down.
GG's in the chat. Another spearman falls. Those 2 archers trying to push back away the 4 on the other side, but SortOf is at the point where I think he's wanting to go towards Castle Age. He's going to need to drop an outpost or wall up this wood line to not allow any pressure through it.
Yeah, this is interesting because SortOf decides to go for the aggression.
Did you just see Puppypaw's resources? First 2 traders just returned back 186 a pop.
So yeah, that's a lot. And the last trader is gonna give him more than enough gold for castle, and he already has the food. So he's gonna beat the HRE into castle.
Sort of,
really,
though,
really good.
is at least burning down the Uvu for the time being. He's got some archers and spears on top of the 2 production buildings for Puppypaw. So even if Castle Age does hit, he currently won't have any production, but look at what Puppypaw does. Grabs his TC, he's moving it on a little closer. He's gonna use the TC as the defense.
That's brilliant play. He's like, okay, I can't save the Ubu, but I need to protect my production, and that's exactly what he does.
The problem for Puppypaw is if this double deer pack on the eastern side got focused by SortOf, that is all of Puppy's main food. Instead, SortOf focused down on that Uvu, allowed Puppypaw bring his military back, get the numbers that he needed, take a winning fight, clear out the rest of these archers in the back line, and he hits Castle Age at the same time. So just lacking in the military strength, SortOf had a few more of the archers come into play, but they're not attacking, they're not there yet.
Yeah, and Puppypaw is producing his first Minotaur. When that comes out, all the archers just need to run.
Yep. Would love to see, hopefully SortOf runs towards those deer if he has that presence of mind. Again, his scout circled around, not sure if he got vision of that. He definitely saw the outpost when it was being built way earlier on, about, 4 minutes ago or so. And Regnant's Cathedral's being dropped with double stables.
Look at that, that's funny. That one Minotaur just chasing 9 archers. Quite funny. But yeah, SortOf, as soon as he saw Puppypaw age up, he went into full panic mode and moved a bunch of villagers to the goal in order to be able to age up.
Dang, did you just get a huge frame drop?
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah, that was very weird. But yeah, with the Regnants going down, the double stables, so we are about to see a lot of Lancers. But the trader's going down for Puppypaw, but he doesn't care. They fulfill the purpose of getting him to castle, and now he just doesn't care.
Yep, Puppypaw, 2TC, just as SortOf's on his 2TCs. SortOf just has a little bit of a villager lead. The key is going to be, is he going to be able to grab and deny relics? Is Puppypaw going to be able to deny the relics away from SortOf, or is SortOf going to be able to secure up a couple? And, I see 3 in his immediate vicinity that he has a possibility to get. He just needs to get those Castle Age military units out, which, double stables, dropping a 3rd stables as we speak.
Yeah, those 3 relics are really safe for SortOf. He should be able to grab all 3 of those unless Puppy manages to put enough pressure to keep the relics out completely out of the sky.
Lancer dives in on the first farm that was built on top of the chapel, which doesn't even have a prelate inside, as those prelates, I'm sure, are trying to go grab relics, but those Lancers definitely paying off, military being pulled, but SortOf has a prelate moving up to that middle relic and immediately gets sighted out by a Lancer. Taken down. I have seen Puppypaw play against HRE one too many times. He has just a sniper on those prelates' head at all times whenever they move out, and they just take one tiny step in the wrong direction, one tiny step too far, they are going to be losing their life. And if you're able to delay this tempo, delay the relics from HRE, it is just devastating to him. Lancers take down a couple spearmen on the opposite side. Archer mass still available. More of the wood line being denied. More of the farms being denied. And still 0 relics in the Regnant's Cathedral.
Apparently they have some sound chips. Let me try something. Oh, I know why. How about now? How do I sound now?
Sounds better now.
Oh, okay, yeah. The Windows for some reason chose to use the wrong microphone, even though I had it set up. Well, should be a lot better now.
Gotcha. And look, Puppypaw full idling out that secondary town center. Had 3 Lancers, had the archers on top of it. The bigger problem is going to be if he finds some of these secondary sources. He was already idling the chapel villagers. A ton of damage that Puppypaw has caused to SortOf's economy. Still is lacking by 2 villagers, but is causing so much damage and so much idle time.
Yeah, hold on, I'm still checking the still making sure.
No
nothing
worries.
happening there.
Knights taking a fight versus the Lancers. A pretty decent fight, I would say, for SortOf. Able to defend up those vills that I was worried about, who are now dropping an outpost. Take out a Lancer or 2 or 3, but needs to be worried. Needs to maybe build a couple more villagers on top of that outpost, as there are more men-at-arms and archers in reinforcements. SortOf taking a fight in the middle as well. Has some crossbows that are starting to mass up against the Lancers. And villagers on the west side, berries, do get denied, start to take some damage. So Puppypaw is the one with full aggression, the one with full pressure. He might lose his con again. We might see some more GGs in the chat, but it is still looking to trend back towards Puppypaw heavily in this Castle Age state of the game. SortOf having to transition onto food, definitely hurting. Hasn't been able to get one single relic yet. Whoa.
That's a bit of a
archers.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. 5 archers is not that big of a deal at this stage of the game, but still hurts. He was really trying to deny that relic. He's managed to knight 3 of them, so it's pretty good.
You sound
SortOf
a million
with
times
just
better.
Yeah. And you should have told me something, whatever.
It wasn't bad at first, and then there were some times that it was, and sometimes that it wasn't. Once the game noise happened, it kind of...
Yeah, that's okay. It happens. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize the Windows had picked up the wrong microphone. But yeah, at this point in the game, I will say this is pretty even. Worker count is pretty even. There are not that many farms on the chapel. This is a mess of a chapel, by the way. You generally want to have a super clean farms around it because you can only fit so many. But
that's what happens when you're dropping farms while Lancers are raiding your base.
yeah, and this is another issue of having a forward chapel. If this chapel was on the back, he would have a lot more space and it will be a lot safer. But he managed to reap the fruits of that, of having the forward chapel with the stone, the berries, and almost the entire wood line by now.
Lancers able to find some more damage. SortOf again is worried about the trade, so is going to check in on it. But again, Puppypaw not too heavy into the trade meta. Isn't just going over here trade booming with 20 traders in the background with too many resources to know what to deal with. He's just playing this a little bit smarter. We have seen 2 relics be grabbed by SortOf. He has seemed to stabilize a little bit. Has 15 military units up on Puppypaw, though he is lacking on the Knight to Lancer numbers. But, you know, somewhat okay, as he, during this time, has been dropping farm after farm after farm, whereas Puppypaw hasn't yet dropped the, 20 pastures that he's going to end up needing.
Yeah, Puppypaw has full map control, so he can confidently go into the board, he managed to go all through his entire year. He still has another berry he can go through.
Ooh, first night raid coming onto the back line where the Stepped Out just got dropped. Another Vill gets taken down and another. And just how Puppypaw was the one putting the pressure, SortOf finding some huge success with just 2 knights on his side.
Yeah, but those knights are gonna go down now, being chased by 5 lancers. Oh, that poor monk is gonna go down to the wolf. But yeah, SortOf starting to slowly reclaim map control, gaining back his own territory, putting down walls, getting the resources. But he still has a tough hill to climb because Puppypaw has so many lancers out on the map. He can't really just move out and hope to be fine.
Killed the trader before it's able to drop off. Is he going to get the second before he drops off? Oh! Puppypaw gets the extra 186 gold right before it gets taken down, which is absolutely massive. But again, SortOf, those numbers looking much better. Wondering, Puppypaw actually opts for a siege workshop instead of the advanced siege engineering only, as he thinks this is going to start turning into more of a siege war. Needs to start pumping some Springalds out.
Yeah, I'm surprised he chose to start with this.
Chop through on the backside. Puppypaw dives through the wood line, takes out a prelate, takes out some more villagers, and just a crazy back and forth with just lancers and knights raiding either side time after time. And
so many prelates.
SortOf just pulled 5 prelates back, and I feel like they all just got shattered.
Yeah, only three prelates remain. That's not what you want to see, especially because he has Inspire Warriors. He really needs a lot of prelates to keep all the Inspire on his military, which is a big deal.
Puppypaw diving in at that same time on the western side berries with 5 other Lancers, so takes out another set of villagers, forcing some reaction from SortOf. And SortOf hasn't been able to return back to that gold yet. Hasn't been able to cause more idle time for Puppypaw yet. It just completely like reverted switch, even though SortOf has the numbers. He just hasn't been able to cause the pressure, and Puppypaw slowly gonna move out further and further. Move out with more outposts. Gets some more vision on the map, and then raiding, he's gonna see 18 steps ahead.
Yeah, Puppypaw is playing this masterfully, just keeping the HRE pinned down, just not wanting him to do anything that he wants, just forcing him to produce military constantly, not letting him get to Imperial, which is their strongest point. Yeah, this is, look at that huge military in the middle, ready to go whenever, wherever he's needed.
Puppypaw's
getting
snagging
all
all the passive gold. Has 3 relics, has 3 sacred sites, 5 more knights circling around, but they're diving right through double TC, right through full vision. So not really a good spot that I would choose. SortOf, again, he has the numbers. He just hasn't been able to do anything with the numbers. Maybe it's the composition as well.
Yeah, the composition is a big issue because he has a lot of archers, which are not good against what Puppypaw has. Puppypaw has a lot of crossbows, so he will melt any knights that are on the front line, any minotaurs, which there are not, but if there were, they will instantly melt. And after the knights are gone, that one mangonel and the lancers of his own will melt everything that SortOf has. This is a very, very tough spot. SortOf, look at that, slowly creeping with outposts. He has 3 with emplacements. He needs to get that jump network upgrade. It's really important when you're fighting in the middle of the map.
Yeah, it will start applying to, you know, everything else other than just those cavalry units and traders. That one knight in the back line by Puppypaw just causing some more annoyance. Knights come back into the front side of the town center, decide to take a fight, thin out some of those crossbows, thin out some of the lancers, and so actually a pretty solid fight taken there if SortOf's able to dive back out of this now.
No, that's a problem. He won't be able to. He lost like half of that army, and he fought into a really bad choke point with the crossbows between the steel and the town center. So yeah, this is rough. At least SortOf is buying time. He knows he needs time right now, because with the chapel, with the prelate inspiration, he's going to get a higher income in general than Puppypaw is. But he needs time for that. And time is something he doesn't have because Puppypaw has 2 trebuchets really ready to start assailing his front, and we talked about this earlier with the chapel on the front. All his food eco is right there, and the trebuchets just 2 hits, farm gone, 2 hits, farm gone, which is it's gonna be very hard for him.
The UI is showing 2 different archers because 5 are Mongol Woloload archers, but gets a nice raid on that forward wood line with those knights right as Puppypaw move forward with it, going back for another one. And I mean, I don't know if you've taken a look, but SortOf has 107 military units.
Yeah. The problem is most of that military is like low quality. It's a bunch of horsemen, a bunch of archers. Spearmen are okay against what Puppypaw has, but once the entire front line is gone, it's going to prove difficult, especially if he fights onto this outpost. No, SortOf.
I mean,
no.
I think Puppypaw has to fall back from this. I think Puppypaw has to give this up. I promise this is too much military for Puppypaw's mass unless the 2 mangonels just get a perfect shot. But look at the spread formation coming in. Horsemen, knights seeming like they're trying to circle around. Spearmen moving on up, and the horsemen able to take out the first mangonel. Crossbows having to fall back, and horsemen and spears on top of the crossbow mass. So Puppypaw starting to lose out some of the mass, but doesn't prove to be enough, I don't think, as more and more is trickling on in and not all of the outposts got taken out.
Yeah, that's the main issue. Not all of the outposts were taken out, and that middle one with the sprinkle is putting up so much work.
Look at these prelates, though. These prelates are putting in work. The last mangonel, though, did not get taken out, and that was the main key problem. Sort of, though, taking out a good mass of the military on the other side, but just not going to be enough with the amount of siege that Puppypaw had. That one mangonel was able to fire in that fight, I want to say 7 times. Knights circling around the backside, though, going in for raids through this as well. Sort of up nine villagers after this, and a little bit on the military infantry numbers, but not siege at all.
Yeah, that's the main issue right now, the siege. Because 4 sprinkles, that means he will never catch up in siege. The 2 mangonels are going to prevent any dives from coming through. He needs horsemen for that, which he has a fair amount now, but still gonna be rough. And the 2 Travages, he just can start slowly assailing that front. Just needs to get a little bit more meat for his front line, and he will be ready to go in again. That one random man-at-arms just
Horsemen going back towards those villagers on the wood line again. Good reaction by Puppypaw, immediately spots it out. Horsemen still should be able to get a few attacks in. Shouldn't be going towards that middle, though, as that is where the main mass is for Puppypaw's military. And
Yeah,
Puppypaw looks like he doesn't have a...
mangonels.
Puppypaw looks like he's running lower on the pastures and needs some more pastures. Villagers on top
Yes.
of the pastures getting raided too. This is starting to look like a struggle just because Sort of is making sure to not take the head-on fight right now. He's realized what Puppypaw has is just too much to deal with. So how do you stall out the game? Raid and force that military back.
Yeah, Puppy is going a little bit too heavy onto the siege. He has 5 mangonels. He doesn't need that many. He needs like 3, maybe. 5 is way too many. And at this point, he sort of is exploiting the weakness of siege, which is mobility. And since you're Mongols, you don't have walls, so you cannot prevent your opponent from just running around you. Instead, what he's doing is, okay, you don't want to fight me head on. I'm gonna force you. I'm gonna start driving down your keep, and you'll have to fight me under all my sprinkle towers and all my siege. And that's exactly what's going to happen right now.
Sort of looks like he is opting to take the dive, but look at that mangonel shots. The 5 mangonels just absolutely getting a huge first volley. Second volley's not
So many
quite as
mangonels.
useful as it went for the horseman, but 1 mangonel goes down. Next mangonel goes down. Looks like Sort of getting closer and closer to the siege mass. Puppypaw not quite falling back on top of it. Mangonels not being as useful as you'd think they would, but Sort of. Is this going to be enough? Is he going to be able to push through? There's still 4 sprinkle towers attacking. There's still siege in the back line. But Puppypaw, where's your mass? And more importantly, is Puppypaw going to have the economy to mass up more, as his food was hurting quite a bit before this?
Yeah. Oh, that was terrible. But he had to take that fight. He was forced. He had crabs assailing his front, and behind that there's a bunch of towers that are coming in. If he didn't take that fight, he will be dying right now. Now he gets a moment to breathe, to remass his army, and maybe take this on again. But he has until the ski falls, which it should take a while because he just used emergency repairs, and he should have it again before the traps can fully take it down, especially if he posts a few villagers to repair. But this is proving difficult.
Puppypaw had that mass transition over to the gold on the west side. The key's going to be, if this gold runs out during one of these kind of after fights where he's remassing up, it's going to be a struggle. He is idling on his food at home, so he needs to trickle in some more pastures. He's invested so much wood into outposts, into siege, that he could just, utilize a lot to sacrifice, 300 wood for 2 extra pastures. Could go a long way. Sort of has the economy to remass back up his military. 2,500 food per minute compared to 1,200 on the other side.
Yeah, the problem is he's running out of gold. He has like 1 bag gold, and he's choosing instead to go for the big gold on the far left, which is very, very exposed to raid. Oh, Puppypaw is going in. Keep goes down, he goes in, he's tried to pick a couple of food villagers, but he's like, no, I'm just gonna stay near my siege and slowly push you to death.
This is about to be so nice for Puppypaw. Mangonels and the bounty that they are about to bring back in is about to be enough to fund Imperial Age. All of the raid bounty, it's just destroying all of these farms. So much of an investment, sort
There's
of.
a raid onto sort of base though. A bunch of horsemen just killing a lot of villagers. Holy.
Oh, idling out the vills on the sheep, like you know when the Mongols are later in the game, if they don't invest in towers around their town center, but at the same time, sort of able to hold the other side, but will he be able to dive under all of those sprinkled outposts, under all of that siege? He's going for it. He's on top of the first Mangonel. He's on top of some of that siege and starting to push Puppypaw on back.
Yeah, this is... Ooh, he was forced to take this fight. I think he will able to clean up the siege, which is really good for him. It's gonna buy him a lot of time. But Puppy, he's remassing behind that, and he will still have all those outposts to work on there.
But Puppy's not going to be able to remass behind this is the problem. Look at the food per minute still. He's just like, the siege was his one shot. I did not expect that whatsoever. And now, sort of, is on top of some of the front wood villagers. All sort of really needs to do, I feel like, is start getting into the siege war himself.
Yeah, he definitely needs siege, because right now, he's taking this fight under the outposts, and those are 5-6 sprinkle outposts. That it's a lot of damage. Like, look at that. His entire army is just melting under all these outposts and the Mangonel on the back.
More villagers going down for Puppypaw though. The army, they don't know who to attack. There's just so many different things. Sort of needs to just remass at home yet again. Doesn't have the stone for a keep. Doesn't have the stone for stability. Puppypaw did run out of that gold, transitioning to another gold that he has not built outposts around, because he is full focus into making sure he can hold this fight, he can push back and still have the leverage up. This has just been a crazy back and forth, but Puppypaw still doubling the army value due to all of his siege that he has. And again, any sort of this raid bounty coming in is huge for him. It's not only denial of resources by sort of, but it's resources coming in for himself.
Yeah, he's finally getting the raid bounty upgrade, which is something he needed a while ago. But that after that finishes, it's even a bigger issue, because you're, instead of getting 50 total resources, you get 100. You just double, and with this many farms, that's a lot of resources that are going to come into Puppypaw's pocket.
Yeah, I think after sort of had killed the siege, if he had just fallen back with his mass instead of just continuing to try to dive, would have been in a much better positioning. But this is allowing Puppypaw to just snowball into sort of's economy. And as we see all of those resources coming in, and he knows that taking out these farms hurts HRE so much.
Yeah, this is the problem with the forward chapel. All the farms are on front, and these are so many resources, because this is all of sort of food eco. After these farms are gone, he has like what, 10 farms in the back that he just placed down because he knows he cannot hold the front. This is looking very, very rough. He needs to take a really good fight and engagement now, with those Langschneck actually doing a lot of damage on those spearmen.
And the first trebuchet has come in by sort of, but isn't going to be able to move up to a positioning point where he can actually fire down upon trebuchets, because now he doesn't have the infantry mass. He would have had it. He would have been fine if he had fallen back after that, but took so much damage. Raid coming in on those gold villagers on the western side though. Yep. Puppy has to fall back off of gold, but he is getting so much gold from everything he's destroying, and sort of's eco is getting demolished. Loses the Regnitz Cathedral. Emergency repair wasn't activated in time.
Oh, that really, really hurts. Those two relics are a bunch. It's like a third of sort of gold income, and he really needs those for the Langschneck that are his probably one saving grace in this game, if he can manage to get on top of the enemy mass. But we'll see. That's so many Mangonels. That's 4 Mangonels and a bunch of crossbows. This is really hard to fight into.
Don't take this fight for sure. He does have to. Puppypaw has started trading the backside of this. He's going for the siege again, but the problem is he's diving onto these sprinkled outposts. Take out the siege and then fall back and take your win. This is it. Take your win. Fall back. Fall back.
Fall back. You're doing the same mistake again. Don't go into the sprinkle outpost. Just let your trebuchet slowly take them down. Get the siege. Get the hell out, because those sprinkle outposts hurt a lot. Those two, 42 damage. That's a lot. That's like a third of a spearman's health. You can't just be fighting under those.
And this is the point where there were a lot of times it seemed okay for SortOf, but doesn't seem okay here recently. Isn't going to be able to do any sort of return raids. Puppypaw's making sure of that with 8 outposts on the next gold that he's placing. SortOf's having to spread out further and further and further and just losing more and more and more.
And we're getting close to that landmark victory. Like those. Oh, never mind. SortOf realizes he's about to lose, and he just throws in the towel.
Wild.
Very, very insane game. Very, very wild indeed.
Back and forth. There were multiple times I would have said it felt like SortOf had the win. Multiple times it felt like Puppypaw had the win.